Hey guys, what is up? Big Reviews here, back again with another video. And I wanted to do something a little different. I used to do these with my friend Shane back when I first started the channel. And I thought it would be cool to go and do a tier list. Now I know this is kind of old, and I guess I'm an unk for this. But I did really want to do this, and let's do this. So right here we have, what is this, 47 MCU projects. This is up to date with the final season of What If. I'm actually going to make a tier. Can I do that? I'm going to put not seen, because actually there are, I think, one or two that I haven't seen. I usually watch everything, and I'm just going to do this quick. What If Season 3. What else have I mean, that's really it. I just haven't seen What If. What If Season 1 was pretty good, but the other seasons looked kind of horrible. And yeah, let's just get into it. Let's start. Should we do chronological, or should we switch it up a bit? Maybe chronological. Hulk, we're going to put... C or D tier. I'm feeling C or D tier. So my criteria for this is going to be rewatchability, movies I enjoyed, theater experience, kind of when we get to the newer ones, but really just rewatchability. Like, would I go watch this movie now? Would I recommend this movie out of all the Marvel movies? And just how much I enjoyed it and was sucked into it. The Incredible Hulk, I mean, when we're dealing with phase one, this is really where you're talking about like the MCU finding its steps and stuff, and the Incredible Hulk's kind of forgettable. I mean, I do like this Hulk, like this is Hulk, and now since, you know, we have Professor Hulk, I'm kind of getting tired of him, so I wish he would go back to this type of Hulk. This movie doesn't really do anything. Now, the new Captain America movie coming out does have, you know, the villain from this movie, the thinker, or the leader, so we're gonna get a lot of stuff paid off in this, but not really enjoyable, guys. I mean, I saw this once when I was with my cousins. I was babysitting my cousin, we watched it, and I was like, eh. Iron Man 1, S tier. I mean, this is the true beginning of the MCU. Like, I know this movie and Hulk came out the same time, but I mean, this was a wonderful way to start the world. I mean, this was still back when it was more grounded, but the fact that this movie was made and the way it was made and the way it came out was amazing. I mean, Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark is one of the best castings in the past 10, 15 years. And just everything about this movie. I do agree with Cosmonaut Variety Hour when he talks about, he uses a term called evil robot Jeff Bridges, and it basically talks about how it's like a villain who just comes out of nowhere to be the villain at the end. And that's kind of Obadiah Stane a little bit, where he just gets like this robot for no reason. But I mean, what hasn't been said about this movie? The iconic I Am Iron Man, seeing him go from this narcissistic guy, and his character arc throughout all these movies are great. But this is not going to be me reviewing all these movies, too. I don't want to yap, considering I just made an hour-long video of the Star Wars timeline. If you haven't seen that, go watch it. But let's get into it. We have Iron Man 2. Put Iron Man 2 in C tier. I would accept B tier. Iron Man 2, I do love Iron Man 2. I think it is hated. I think Iron Man does have one of the better trilogies. Iron Man 2 was hated on a lot. I think it still is. But this movie is just funny. I mean, Justin Hammer, I mean, he's having the time of his life playing that character of Justin Hammer. And Whiplash, I mean, the iconic race fight scene where he has the suit, the briefcase and the suit, and then him and War Machine at the end, and just him kind of exploring where him and Pepper stand. Yeah, I mean, this movie was great. The CGI in these early movies, like especially the first two Iron Mans, hold up so well today, and like CGI has fallen off more as these movies go on. But yeah, I'd put C tier. Thor, I do D or C. Oh man, I'll put bottom of C. It's just Thor 1 is just this is one of my opinions that I feel like I'll get slaughtered for. But I don't know, Thor 1 I just don't like that much. Like it is cool, and I do wish they kept more of him talking like a god and like Shakespearean and all that, but I like his dynamic with Loki, and I don't know, I never really enjoy this movie. Actually, now that I'm mentioning it, I'm gonna put it D, because oh man, though, with this might move up to C again. It's just when I'm talking about rewatchability and recommending it to others, I don't know, man. Thor 1 is just one of those ones where I'm just like, eh. Captain America, First Avenger. This is between B and A. This is tough. I really do like Captain America, First Avenger. Captain America also has, I think Captain America has the second best trilogy. I mean, all these movies are solid. For some reason, people sometimes bash Captain America 1. The ending of Captain America 1 is one of my favorite endings, and I've seen a lot of people talk about this, and that I just love how simple it is, right? He wakes up, he thinks it's still the 40s, but he wakes up, it's actually 2011. He sees Nick Fury, and he says he had a date, and it cuts to black. and this was going into Avengers. I mean, that was such a good ending, and I just really like. I really like just seeing Steve get the powers and how he deals with that and punching Nazis and the Red Skull and all that. I do think this is a solid movie. Maybe B or C. Damn it. We'll see. I'll leave that at B right now. Avengers S tier. I mean, this is the benchmark of superhero films, let alone especially Marvel. I mean, this was unheard of back in the day, minus the X-Men. But X-Men's a little different because they're always teaming up. Like, this was 5 separate movies leading into a team-up film. One of my unpopular opinions, I guess, or maybe popular nowadays, is I think Black Widow should have came out in phase 1 or 2 before she died in Infinity War. And I don't think we needed Iron Man 2 right away. I think this should have been Black Widow. I don't think they could have. I don't know though. But I can see why they didn't, because I don't know if Black Widow and Hawkeye would get that big. I mean, because you have Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America. Those are big money makers. But I don't know, how much did Black Widow make? Yeah, see, I mean, this was also right after COVID. What was this? 2021. Yeah, I remember this is my first movie out of COVID. It broke even by not even 100 mil, but I don't know. It's like I feel like Black Widow should have came out now and then do the Avengers, or maybe make a Black Widow Hawkeye team up film and then Avengers, because it was just weird that all of a sudden they pop up in Avengers. Even though I know Hawkeye and Black Widow popped up in these movies, I don't know. Iron Man 3 A tier. This movie is fucking slept on, and I'm so glad public opinion is changing on this. I've always loved Iron Man 3, and I just never understand how, like, this movie was hated. This was the first Marvel film I saw in theaters, and I remember the hype after Avengers, and just seeing him, like, Tony learning to be good with himself without the suit, and, like, just the dynamic in this movie. I mean, the Mandarin, obviously, I know they played him into a joke, but that joke was funny to me because I wasn't some big comic head, and obviously we got the real Mandarin in Shang-Chi, but the action in this scene, I mean, the scene where he's saving everyone from Air Force One as they're, like, free-falling, that was incredible. Seeing him come to terms with it and blow all his suits up, and I really love how it explored his, if you don't know, so in the comics, they explore Tony Stark's alcoholism. But in this movie, obviously, I think they couldn't do it because they were still kind of catering to kids a little bit. So they did PTSD, which makes sense, too, in the narrative. Also, I'm going to put Avengers 1 above Iron Man. If you don't know it, the one to the left is, like, the highest of that tier. So, yeah. And it makes sense. I mean, he almost died in Iron Man, or he almost died in Avengers, right, when he was bringing the nuke through the portal. So I really like seeing him come to terms and, like his PTSD attack and him not really knowing what's going on. Or Dark World E. Oh, F. Oh, there's some F'ers in here, guys. There are some F tier shits in here, but I'm gonna put F because, I mean, come on, this movie is just not fun. I'm just thinking of it like when I did my rewatch with my friend Alicia, and we got to this movie, I was just not hyped. I literally told her to do homework because, like, forgettable villain. The only thing that comes out of this movie is they set up the Reality Stone. This is when we start getting to the point where they're setting up the stones, and that was literally it. And there's really nothing memorable. I mean, the only scene I really do like in this movie is where Loki is, like, taunting Thor, and then Thor's like, you know, he could tell, like, it's an illusion. He's like, you know, Mom just died, and the illusion cuts, and you see Loki just, like, he hasn't slept. He's bloody. He's been throwing things around, and I really love how Thor called that out because, you know, Loki's last interaction with his mom was that, you know, you're not my mom, and then she died. So obviously that's eating him up. That was, like, the only good scene I liked. F tier. Like I said, rewatchability, enjoyability. Winter Soldier, fucking S tier. S tier. I mean, this is a lot of people's favorites, especially people who aren't into the MCU like that. I love these movies, and I'm really hyped for the new Captain America because it does look like more grounded. This was like a spy thriller. It was really dark. The Winter Soldier was scary, but, you know, you wanted to root for Cap to find him. I loved how it was more like Cap going undercover with Black Widow. We get Falcon in this film. They mentioned Stephen Strange. And, oh, this movie was great. I mean, we get one of the best Nick Fury lines in this film, too, which was when he was like, you have to keep both eyes open, and you see his eye with the scar. Oh, man, this movie was so good. The dialogue and the action in this scene. I mean, you get the elevator scene as well. Oh, so damn good. Guardians of the Galaxy, we're going to go straight to S. I mean, one of the best films in the MCU. Probably the best of the trilogy. Guardians is the best trilogy in the MCU, but man, this movie is so damn funny. I love how James Gunn can really just do the funniness, the comedy, but he can also really hit you in the gut emotionally. Like, seeing him struggle with Yondu and his mom's death, and take my hand, Peter, and he finally takes the hand of the Guardians to save the galaxy. We see the background of the stones a little bit. We see Thanos, and this was where really Marvel tested the waters of how crazy can they get, because before this it was still grounded, right? Like, you had the aliens and stuff in Avengers, but it really was grounded. Like, obviously you have Hulk and Thor running around, but you know what I mean, they were still trying to keep it grounded in science, and this is where they really started getting to the whimsical and magical side of the MCU that we love, and they just knocked it out of the park. I mean, and the soundtrack of this film, so good. Avengers Age of Ultron, I'm gonna put B, high B. I don't think it's A, I don't think it's S, obviously. This is the weakest Avengers film, but this film I think is overly hated. I see a lot of people putting it in C and D, but I like this film. I like the comedy in it. I like seeing them at their wits' end. I did like Ultron. I feel like they could have made him a little sketchier and stuff, and and everyone's always bitching how Hank Pym didn't make Ultron, but it makes sense in this universe that Tony wants to make it. I mean, his whole character arc is driving these phases of the MCU where he almost died in Avengers, he has PTSD, he knows there's a bigger threat out there, he doesn't want it to come back, so he tries to make a suit of armor around the world, and that comes into Ultron. But I really did like this movie. I mean, we meet Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver, even though Quicksilver dies. We get another end credit scene by Thanos, and this is a solid film. I mean, yes, it's the weakest Avengers film. I just think people hate on it, and we get Vision, obviously, too. I think people hate on it too much because, obviously, compared to the other three Avengers, it is the weakest. But rewatchability, I could sometimes watch Age of Ultron over the first Avengers, because the first Avengers is good. It just is a little slow getting to it. Like, Age of Ultron is just nonstop, all of them bantering and stuff. So I may rewatch Age of Ultron over Avengers 1, but I do love Avengers 1 more. Ant-Man. Ant-Man 1 is a solid film. I'd put it in B. I don't think it's C, D, or F. Maybe C. Oh, man. High C. What do you want, Joey? High C or B? I'll put high C right now. Fuck. That's tough. It's either C or B. This is a solid film. It's really fun. I'm going to put B. I think it deserves its credit. This is the best Ant-Man in the trilogy. The other two are kind of mid. There's actually scenes in this film where he's just doing shit at a small scale. Like, he's riding a vinyl. Like, he's doing all these things that I wish they would just do fun stuff in the other movies. His fight with Falcon was really funny. And just the fight scenes in this film, I feel like, are the best. Like, they actually utilize his small size. He's fighting on the Thomas the Tank Engine set, right? I just don't think the other films have that shit. I'm sorry. Civil War, I'm going to put top of A. A lot of people put it in S, but I don't know. Civil War was just... is this S? I feel like when you start putting hella movies in S, they kind of like diminish it. I'm going to do something here. Oh, man. I almost want to put Avengers in A and Civil War in S. Civil War is fucking good. I love Civil War. I love Zemo. You meet Black Panther, the airport scene, and then the scene at the end where Tony finds out that, Bucky killed his parents and that Cap knew, and they fight. I mean, that shit's fucking good. And it goes directly into Infinity War. I think I'm going to leave it there. Fuck. If you tell me it's an S tier, I won't doubt you. I don't know why. We'll see how this looks at the end. Doctor Strange. Top of B. I'm going to do top of B. I'm going to move Ant-Man to C. There we go. Because Ant-Man's good, but like I said, rewatchability, and would I watch it right now? I think I'd watch... I do like Doctor Strange 1. Again, it's like Ant-Man, where Doctor Strange 1 was actually doing crazy-ass shit with its magic. Obviously, we've only had 2, but I wish number 2 was kind of like this. Solid film. The villain was a little weak, but I really like how he stopped Dormammu at the end. It wasn't just him fighting it. It was him putting him in a time loop until he said enough. Like, that's like, ways like that to, like, defeat the enemy I really like. So, solid film. I love Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange, and him, like, coming to terms with how he's an asshole and all that is great. Guardians 2, it's going to go in A tier. I'll put it right there in between Iron Man 3 and Civil War. I love Guardians 2. Some people sometimes shit on it because I think it is the weakest of the 3. But this film was funny. Again, it has the emotional attachment of, him trying to find his dad, and all along, like, his dad was Yondu. He realizes in the end, Yondu's sacrifice. Ego was great. Baby Groot was really cute. The old dance number in the beginning was funny. And Drax is at an all-time funny in this movie. And I love this film. I mean, any Guardians film, if you have any Guardians film below A, you're nuts, right? Homecoming. I like Homecoming. I really like Homecoming. I I love his connection with Iron Man. I hate to say it because I know everyone's like, "What the fuck?" But I mean, his connection with Iron Man, I feel like fits the MCU, right? And Iron Man and like Tony, his character arc is at the point where now he's teaching Peter like you don't need the suit, and seeing Peter come to terms with who he is as Spider-Man and Peter Parker. I love this whole story. And this movie is funny as well. I mean, it is funny, and the plot and Vulture's a great villain. I really loved how they did Vulture, where he was a guy cleaning up, the events of the Avengers, and they basically came in and took him out of a job. And like that's like actual. I mean, there is the joke that every Spider-Man villain does come from Tony Stark, which I get, but I do like Vulture and the scene where the plot twist where you find out Vulture is the dad of the girl that he's like taking to prom was crazy. And the scene where they're at the red light and he's looking back at Peter through the rearview mirror, and you just see his eyes going. And you see him putting two and two together, and the light turns green right when he figures it out. Oh, it was so good. Him finding out, and then like him pulling a gun on Peter, but then he's like, he's a dad number one, and he's like, listen, like, I know we had our differences, but cut the shit. Make sure my daughter has a good night, and don't come after me. And as you know, he does. But this movie was great. Thor Ragnarok. Oh man, I think Thor is an S tier film. I'm gonna say it. I fucking love Thor 3. It is such a good damn movie that Thor 4 is so shit, and we'll get to that in a second. But this film was much needed for Thor, right? I mean, the first two Thor films are mid, and this film just had it all. It's probably one of the funniest films in the MCU. The soundtrack was great. I mean, we had fucking Led Zeppelin in it. Him and Loki's relationship in this. Hela was a really good villain, and we see Ragnarok. Hulk was in here, and seeing Hulk and Thor's dynamic was really funny, especially when they fought. And then the ending scene, where he's just he becomes the god of thunder, and them coming to terms with Odin's death. This film was great. I fucking love this film. And the end credits scene where it sets up Avengers Endgame. Oh my god, this is where we were all time hype. I mean, leading into Avengers or Infinity War, incredible. Black Panther. I'm gonna put A. I mean, shit. I love Black. Oh, what is it? I don't like it better than Civil War. I don't like it better than Guardian. Oh, do I like it better than Guardians 2? Is it there? I think I'll put it there. I can switch any of these. I think I like Guardians 2 better than Black Panther. But, oh man, Black Panther is amazing. First, Chadwick Boseman's killing in this movie. The only thing is, like, the ending fight, obviously the CGI was kind of mid, and it took me out a little bit. But Killmonger is one of the best villains we had in the MCU. I mean, his backstory, his setup, like, you're actually almost kind of rooting for him for a bit, because you're like, he is right in some aspects, especially when it comes to he has the right for the throne. And him, and, I mean, Chadwick Boseman's acting in this is incredible, especially when he goes to the ancestral plane, and then the one take in the casino. This movie was great. I really love Black Panther. And again, it was leading into Infinity War, so it was like an all-time hype. But this movie was cool, and seeing the culture behind this film. I mean, I went to go see this movie, and it was like nothing else. I mean, people were dancing in the hallways and stuff to like the music. It was crazy. It has one of the best end credit scene musics ever. Infinity War. I mean, come on, guys. This is fucking S. I mean, this is peak MCU. As much as I'm so excited for the future of the MCU with what they're coming, I mean, I don't think you can top Infinity War. And Endgame's here, oh yeah, I mean, Endgame, I think Infinity War is better than Endgame, but this is an experience. I mean, yes, Endgame has its problems, but this is an experience that I'm so grateful to see in theaters. I mean, I saw Infinity War 5 times. I saw Endgame 6 or 7 times. I saw Endgame in theaters. Every time, I mean, the theater experience might be unmatched. No Way Home does get up there with that, but my God, this was crazy. I do think Infinity War is the strongest film in the MCU. It's such. I mean, the writing in both and everything, but like Endgame was more like fan service, and obviously, and the conclusion was really good. But Infinity War, did I miss one? We'll wait on Endgame. I'll talk about Endgame in a bit, but Infinity War was. I mean, the script was really good. Thanos looked incredible. The action scenes were great. It's non-stop action. Like, there's no break. Ending, I mean, Thanos winning, unheard of for a movie, especially in a Marvel movie, and we had to wait a full year for it. I mean, that ending, I remember leaving that theater. It was insane. I mean, Infinity War, what else hasn't been said? Far From Home, I'm going to put C tier. I'm going to put C tier. I'm going to put it like this. Captain America might go down to C. No, we'll keep it there. No, Far From Home is good. I think it's the weakest of the Home trilogy. I kind of like Age of Ultron better. Like, the end was really cool too, like seeing Mysterio like out Peter, and especially with what happened after this movie, where Marvel lost the rights to Spider-Man because Sony and Marvel were being weird, and we thought we were never gonna see like a follow-up to this, and thank God they got the rights back, because this was such a big cliffhanger. There were scenes. I do like Mysterio. I did get his backstory, which I thought was pretty cool, like how it was through Tony. But yeah, this was really cool. I liked it. It's not much to say about it, but yeah. Ant-Man and the Wasp. I'm putting this E tier. I don't think it's F. Like, it is funny, and I would rather watch it over Thor: The Dark World. But my God, I mean, this movie was just boring. This is another one of the movies when we were rewatching, I was like, you can do homework. I was doing my math homework when we rewatched it. I mean, the only good thing about this film is the end credits that sets up Endgame, where you find out like that Iron Man, or that when you find out that Ant-Man was in the quantum realm and everyone got snapped, so he's stuck in the quantum realm. That was nuts. I remember that was like, how's he gonna get out? Like, that's crazy. But other than that, I mean, this movie is just like it's funny, but it's just unforgettable as shit. I really didn't like it that much, and I was a defender of it. Captain Marvel. Unpopular opinion, I like Captain Marvel 2 over Captain Marvel 1. Oh, do I? Captain Marvel C. Oh, do I like Captain Marvel 2 better than 1? I really like Captain Marvel 2. We'll put Captain Marvel C. I like Captain Marvel. We'll put it B. I like Captain... Oh, B or C. Fuck. What do I think? Oh my God. I'll put C. Captain Marvel's grown on me more. I mean, the villain's forgettable. Yeah, C's fine. I do think I'd rather watch Iron Man 2 though over Captain Marvel. But yeah, I mean, this film is, I mean, there's really not much to say about this film. It was good, and it was cool to see one of the first female led movies. I do think, I say this to this day, Black Widow should have gotten the first, she deserved to have the first fucking film, like a female led MCU film. But it was good. It was a little forgettable, especially since it was coming out before Endgame and after Infinity War. But the end credit scene was nuts, seeing like Cap and them, and she finds them and says, you know, where's Fury? That was fucking hype leading into Endgame. But the villain was kind of forgettable. I really liked the scenes of her when she's talking about like just keep getting up and stuff, and you see her throughout her life, like her as a kid, as a sergeant, whatever, and it really cuts between that as she's standing up. That was really fucking cool. And I really like the 90s vibe where you see Blockbuster and seeing like a younger Nick Fury and all that. I don't like how Nick Fury lost his eye. I really fucking hate that, because it should have been something badass, but now it's just a cat. I don't know, that's kind of weird. But Endgame, we just talked about it, fucking S tier behind Infinity War. What a great way to end. What a great way to end the Infinity Saga. I think they technically count Far From Home as the ending to Infinity Saga, because, you know, it's him dealing with Tony's death and all that. But this is everyone's, you know, end of the Infinity Saga. I mean, Tony making the ultimate sacrifice, the action at the end, the on your left portal scene, seeing the world after 5 years of the snap, seeing like how Thanos kind of regrets what he did, but, you know, he says what's done is done, and then Thor kills him, but he doesn't get any gratification out of that. Seeing Tony miss Peter, I mean, the whole time travel scene. This movie is just pure fun. Yeah, the script may be here and there at times, but this movie's pure fun and pure fan service, and I fucking love it. WandaVision. I'm gonna probably put A. I fucking love WandaVision. That was like the first thing we got after Phase 3, and I just remember like being so hyped for it, because this was right after COVID, and I really loved like what they were doing with this. If you ever seen a movie called Pleasantville, it's in 2000s with Tobey Maguire. It's when he goes into like a 1950s TV show, and like every time he shows them something that's outside of the TV realm, there's color that pops up. And this film, the first 2 episodes black and white, and then when she switches it to color, and her just grieving. The only thing I don't like is people like forgiving her and saying like, oh, it's okay. Like she realized what she did at the end. She did enslave a whole damn town, and just flew away. I feel like she should be held a bit, but seeing her really cope with Vision and oh man, it was sad at times. Seeing her backstory, I really liked WandaVision, and every episode just had me really wanting the next one. Falcon Winter Soldier, I'm gonna put C just off of rewatchability. I think this TV show is like definition of kind of mid. It was good. I really liked their dynamic, but the villain's forgettable. Nothing is really going on until episode like 4. Like when John Walker and them finally fight. John Walker kills someone with the shield and they take the shield, and then Sam Wilson finally becomes Cap. I do like the scenes where he's talking to Isaiah, and Isaiah is like this guy who was technically the first Avenger or the first super soldier, but then they like, brushed him under the rug. And I really like that. But other than that, I mean, stuff doesn't really hit the fan to the end. I do like Sam's speech at the end, but yeah. Black Widow. I'm going to put C based on this movie just came out at such a weird time. Like, this was after Endgame. So, like, yeah, it was cool that she got a solo film, but no one really cared. Like, we cared, but it was like, she's dead. So it's like, okay, we get her backstory. That's cool. I mean, we met Yelena, which I love. I do love Yelena, and I can't wait to see what's more for her. But that was really it. I like the Red Guardian and all that, but it was cool, like seeing her break down the Red Room and all that. But that was really it. Nothing really came out of that for me. I mean, it was kind of mid. It was cool because it was like right after COVID, and this is the first Marvel film back. But Shang-Chi, I'm putting Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi's great. And it's really, really slept. No, I'm gonna put it bottom of A. Shang-Chi's fucking slept on. The fight scenes in this film are incredible. I'm so glad this director is doing the next Spider-Man film. Shang-Chi made some money, right? A lot of people say Marvel fell off, but 92 on Rotten Tomatoes. It doubled its money, so it's profitable. This again was right after COVID. It was 2021, so I know not a lot of people did go to theaters, but this movie was fucking great. I mean, the action and him, and like the fact that his dad is the villain, and like their fight at the end is really fucking cool. And we obviously see the old Mandarin Trevor, and this was great. I always say, if you missed out on a lot of Phase 4 Marvel, go watch this one. This is one of the better ones in that series. Eternals, I'm gonna put Eternals at top of C. Eternals is mid, but it is not as bad as everyone says it is. I didn't really expect it to get the hate it did. 47 on Rotten Tomatoes. See, I don't think it's a 47. 70% I could see, like 60-70% is good for this movie. It made double its money. It made Blade. I do think I was shocked it was this slept on. I really liked all the characters. They were juggling a lot of characters in this film, and just seeing them throughout different times of the timeline, and then we see the Celestials and all that, and it left off on a cliffhanger, which I hope we see, because some of them got taken. Icarus being evil. The speedster scenes in this film were great. This is one of the best speedster scenes you can see, and then the end where they set up Blade, which was fucking crazy. I really hope we get a sequel, but I heard they canceled it. Hawkeye, I'm gonna put in C as well. Hawkeye, I didn't have a lot of hype for, but I liked it for what it was. It was like a little Christmas show. The action in the scene was good. We see Wilson Fisk again, which was crazy seeing Wilson Fisk. I remember that was like a leak. I do like Kate Bishop, and her meeting Yelena was really cool. And Yelena and Hawkeye both coming together to grieve Black Widow, and they find out they're both grieving this person was great. The car scene where it was a one shot was great. And yeah, I mean, it is forgettable, but it's a little more than mid. I gotta watch this over Ant-Man, honestly. We'll leave that there. No Way Home. A or S? I think I'll go A. No Way Home is great. I think I'll put it above Spider-Man. Or I think Civil War still is fucking... I'm gonna put Civil War S, guys. I think I'm gonna do it. Yep. No Way Home is top of A, and Civil War's S. Yeah, I mean, I could say, and if you say No Way Home's S, I can get it. I mean, yes, it's fan service, but seeing the fallout of Far From Home, and seeing obviously Toby and Peter again, but this movie was great. Seeing the old villains again, the fight scenes, like the apartment fight scene was really fucking good. He just body slams Peter. The scene where his spider tingle goes off or whatever, spider tingle, remember they call that, and he can sense him turning into the Green Goblin was great. The whole final fight where, like, Toby's teaching him not to kill and not let, you know, rage consume him, and that whole scene was great. Andrew Garfield's saving Zendaya was great too, because that was something I called out. I think I called that out in the trailer reaction. I was like, I could see that them doing that because he didn't catch Gwen. And this movie again was the last big, I mean, Deadpool Wolverine is definitely up there since it was recent, but this was one of the last big theater experience Marvel gave us where everyone was fucking flipping. I mean, the credits were starting and this guy was already crying next to me in a Toby shirt. Like, it was nuts. Moon Knight, I'm putting B. I fucking love Moon Knight. Now, I know comic readers fucking hate it, and they're talking about how it's not Moon Knight from the comics, but this is one of my favorite Disney Plus series. When me and Alicia watched it, some of the shows she would check out on, which I would understand because there are kind of, you know, it's a lot. This show was like, I mean, first off, Oscar Isaac is giving an insane performance. Him switching between Mark Spector and Steven, like his little eye thing he does. His backstory was fucking tragic. We find out he was getting like beaten and abused by his mom, so he had another personality. The action in this scene, this show was cool. I wish this show was TVMA. I feel like if this show was made 2 years later, it would have been TVMA, especially with them doing Werewolf by Night and Deadpool now, which is rated R. And Deadpool got $1 billion, so, you know, I feel like they would have done it because Moon Knight's supposed to be more gritty. But I really love this show, and I really hope we get a season 2. I mean, they haven't announced it. I think they canceled it. Why is there not a season 2? This show is fucking great. And the mystery of, like, what's going on and him going to the Egyptian afterlife was crazy. I mean, this whole show is nuts. The only thing I don't like is, like, the final fight scene with the guy. You don't even see because he switches into Jake Lockley, which you don't even find that out till an after credits scene. And I wish we did see that, like, I wish we did see that fight scene, but still, the fight scenes were cool in this movie. Doctor Strange 2. Do I do top of C or B? I'm going to put mid, but I could see if you put it in B tier. Wait, should Far From Home go down? No, I like Far From Home. Should Doctor Strange go up? And we'll do that at the end. We'll see what's wrong. Doctor Strange 2 was cool. A lot of my friends didn't like it, and some people hated it. How did Doctor Strange do? Holy crap, I did not spell that right. 74, 85. That makes sense. That's why I never understand people, you know. Oh, it made 950 million. Yeah. You know, I'm trying to think. I did like Wanda in this film. I don't like how people were like siding with her because she was like, you know, that's not fair, blah, blah, blah. Like, mother's love, which I get, but it's like, okay, you've enslaved the whole town of people, you know? And I wish we saw more multiverse. I mean, the scene where they're going through like 40 multiverses in the beginning, I thought that was gonna be like the whole movie, and that was gonna be so cool. That's one of my favorite scenes in the film, but I'll keep it here, and we'll move it to B if we have to. But yeah, I wish it was more, but I did like Wanda being the villain and her getting corrupted by the Darkhold. The scene where she does as much as like comic nerds, including me, like nitpick the scene, I did like seeing Professor X again, and obviously John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic was cool because that was like a fan cast for years, and then her just killing all of them was fucking brutal. And Sam Raimi, if he gets a really good script, I want him back for even Doctor Strange 3 or another film, because his directing in this film, a lot of people are calling it cheesy, but that's just Sam Raimi, baby. That shit was great. I did like the fight scene at the end where he's fighting with the music notes. I mean, my friend called that cringe, but I thought that was fucking cool. Because in the comics, he's really big into music. They don't really touch on that in the movies, but I did like that. The ending was a little cheesy, where he like falls and he gets the eye in the forehead. That was kind of cringy, but obviously, and then we see Seer, but they had to set up, you know, because he's big when it comes to you know, the incursions and Secret Wars and all that. But yeah, it was all right. I feel like it was over, and a lot of this comes out of the fan base's fault too, because a lot of people were overhyping this film and saying, "Oh fuck, we're gonna see Tobey Maguire again. We're gonna see all this." And I feel like they were really overhyping this film. Anything with the multiverse, people would overhype because of No Way Home, and they were like, "Oh, we're gonna see Hugh Jackman. We're gonna see this and that," you know, and it was just weird. Miss Marvel, I'm putting this in E. This shit's forgettable. The first episode is really good. And then after that, I just wish they kept that. I know it's made for a different audience, but the fact that this is like the highest rated Marvel, like look like 98. You know what? I can't remember. I can't. If you asked me what the villain of this film was, or you'd shoot me, just fucking kill me, because I literally don't remember this shit. Um, I really love her as Miss Marvel. Like, she's really passionate, and she's one of the best castings since RDJ as Iron Man. Like, she is this character in itself, and you find out she's a mutant. That was like the big reveal in this show, and that was really it. Forgettable for me, and I wouldn't want to rewatch it. Like I said, this is based off rewatchability. Thor: The Love and Thunder. What are we thinking? Chat. Oh, sorry, like two viewers, no one. I don't know if it's F. I think I'll do E. I think I'll do it on top of E. Would I watch Hulk over Thor 4 though? We'll leave it there. This film was disappointing. I might put it here. Top of D, maybe. Like, it was disappointing, but I would rather rewatch it than these films. Maybe not Thor 1. I think I'll do that. Like, this was so disappointing. It's like Taika took everything with Thor Ragnarok and just did comedy 100%. The reason why Ragnarok worked was because it was funny, but it also had heartfelt moments. This film should have been more dark. I think we should have explored him post Endgame, but he just loses all his fat. He's buff again. I mean, you have Christian Bale and you waste him like this. Like, the one scene that's really fucking good in this film is where they're on that moon that's black and white and they fight. That was a cool ass fight scene. And then when he's like telling him to call the axe and he's taunting Valkyrie and him, I think that was really cool. Seeing the Guardians in the beginning was funny too. But I had a lot of fucking hype for this film, and it really, oh my god, this film really disappointed me. 63, that's generous. 76. How much did this movie make? 760 million. How much did Ragnarok make? 850 million. Yeah. Yeah, I just don't like this movie. It was a letdown after Ragnarok, and I really hope they take it in a different direction with the next Thor. And they set shit up here that just doesn't make any sense. They make Zeus look like weird as shit. They overly sexualize Chris Hemsworth for like jokes. The screaming goats aren't funny. I did like Jane in this movie, like seeing her, and I really like the message that like she goes to Valhalla at the end, because you know Valhalla is only for people who die in battle, and I really like that she does go there because cancer is a battle, right? So like her going there, I really think that was poetic. I really like what they were pushing for that. She-Hulk, I'm gonna put C. I'm gonna put bottom of C. I don't think She-Hulk is as bad as people say it is. People roasted the fuck out of this show, but this like show is what She-Hulk is, right? She breaks the fourth wall. It was funny. I think she kills it as She-Hulk. I really thought that was... What year did this come out? Was it 23 or 22? 22. Seeing Abomination again was cool. Matt Murdock was in it, which was crazy. I mean, that really carried the show for me, but I thought it was funny. I mean, the ending where she jumps through the Disney Plus logos and she talks to Kevin from Marvel, I thought that was funny, and yeah, it's just one of those shows where you just turn your brain off and watch. It's like a little sitcom. I don't think it's as horrible as people thought. Werewolf by Night, this shit is fucking A tier, man. I mean, this is only an hour long. This was... I didn't even know what the hell this was. Yeah, 90%. I mean, this shit was nuts. It was rated PG-13, but it was bloody as shit. And it's like an hour long, but the vibes were there. If you've never seen this, it's only an hour. It's something called a special presentation that Marvel does where it's only an hour long. And this shit was great. It took me by surprise, and I hope we see some of these characters again. Wakanda Forever, I'm gonna put top of B, maybe A. I cried like shit in this movie. I mean, I'm gonna put it A. I'm gonna put WandaVision top of B. Yeah, I'm gonna do that, I think. This movie's fucking great, guys. I mean, actually, I don't know if I would rewatch Werewolf by Night over WandaVision. We're gonna do this, and we'll do this. Wakanda Forever is fucking great. I'm gonna do this, actually. It was slept on. I feel like it made a lot of money and was talked about, but it's still like post-COVID MCU where people were still trying to like grasp what was going on with MCU. But seeing, I mean, first off, this whole movie's tributed to T'Challa. The movie starting out right with like her figuring out like her brother dying was insane to me. I really hope they touch on this more in the MCU, like seeing people react to him dying. Shuri taking the mantle. Namor was a great villain. I mean, he did some damage in this fucking film. He kills the queen. I mean, that shit was nuts. And seeing them fight at the end, her becoming Black Panther, and you finding out in the end credit that T'Challa has a son, and just seeing her, it's just no music or anything, and her closing her eyes, and you see moments of them with T'Challa. I mean, I could tear up. That was such a good tribute to Chadwick Boseman. And the action in this film kicked ass. I really like this film. If Black Panther 3 is really good, this is probably going to be the second or third best trilogy in the MCU. Quantumania. Fuck, would I rather watch Quantumania or Thor? I think I'll do this. This might be F, guys. Do I put both Ant-Mans in F? I think Quantumania. I think Ant-Man and the Wasp is better made than Quantumania. God, Quantumania was the most I've been let down in a long time, especially by Marvel. I mean, we had Kang. This is right after Loki, so like, Loki season 1's not on here. Loki season 1, it'd be A or S, by the way, but this was such a letdown. This was the beginning of Kang, and this movie should have ended with either Ant-Man dying or being stuck in the quantum realm. And Kang winning. I don't know how they just don't do that. Apparently that was the original script, and they changed it in January, like right before the movie came out. They changed the ending. This movie was way too funny, in the bad way. Like, the jokes didn't land a lot. I don't like the actress they have for his daughter. I think they should have kept the one from Endgame. I just feel like she didn't really do that good of a job. Again, the script was weak. Kang was like scary, yeah, but you know, now especially with them not doing it anymore, it doesn't really matter. Like, the end credit scenes were fucking cool because one set up Loki and the other one set up the Council of Kangs, but now that they're not doing Kang anymore, I guess it really doesn't matter. This movie's a joke. I don't like it. Guardians 3. This is S tier, baby. This is everything you love about Guardians and then some. I mean, it has the emotional moments. Like, this movie is funny as shit. It's a culmination of the Guardian films, and it's really fucking sad and personal. Like, them, like, just doing all this for Rocket. The villain was great. The send-off, like, no one dies. I was shocked no one dies. It was so cool seeing a trilogy, like, end and no one dies. And this film was great. And that's why, like, when people say, like, Marvel fell off, like, yeah, we've had some fucking misses down here. Actually, Thor 4 is going in E. What the fuck am I thinking? We've had some misses, but Guardians 3, and was really fucking good. The holiday special, I'm going to put in B for what it is. I mean, this was just a cute little hour-long thing where Mantis and, you know, Drax are trying to find something for Peter for Christmas because he's missing Gamora. It's just a little fun adventure. There's really nothing to talk about. It's just fun. I mean, I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's better. Okay, for what it is, I think it's B. I don't think it's better than, like, Black Widow or Doctor Strange or anything. But for what it is, I'd put B. Secret Invasion fucking F. This is the worst thing in the MCU. This shit is fucking horrible. I just, oh man, this shit's bad. It's making me pissed. Like, this, like, literally when we were watching this, Alicia, my friend, didn't even finish it. And I didn't even, oh no, she finished it, but we weren't even, shit was horrible. Like, it had such a good concept. They kill Maria Hill in the first episode, and then no one cares. And it's like, she's been around since Avengers 1. Like, what the fuck are we doing? And then, oh man, you find out Rhodey was a Skrull, and then then in the end, like, Emilia Clarke's character just gets all these powers. Oh my god, I don't even want to talk about this entity anymore. Fucking F. I almost want to put it in not seeing because it's that bad. F, bottom of F, fuck that. Loki season 2, S tier. This was one of the only things throughout the past few years of Marvel, obviously besides like Guardians and Deadpool, that I was just consistently surprised and happy with. Like, the first season was really fucking good, and I've talked about this in my something about Marvel recently, one of my videos, where I was like, I was not hyped for Loki when they announced it, and then when it came out, it is my favorite Disney Plus show they did, especially season 2. I mean, so I'm gonna count this Loki thing as like both seasons because both were obviously really good. Season 2 is way better than season. I fucking love season 2. Because season 2 is just like batshit right after season 1, and he's time slipping, and he learns to control it. He beats He Who Must Not Be Named, or why am I talking about Voldemort? He beats He beats Kang. You see Kang's backstory a little bit, and I really like how they wrapped this up. And they probably did this unintentionally, but the way they wrapped it up is like, oh, technically he could have beaten Kang now, and there's no Kangs out there. So that's a good way to write it off, I guess. But this show was good. I mean, the cliffhangers in Loki were. I remember like the one cliffhanger in the season 2. I was like, holy shit! I love Loki. Oh man, Loki's good. Marvel's. Maybe here. I liked the Marvels. Should Captain Marvel go in B? We'll talk about that at the end. The Marvels is slept maybe top of D. So, in my opinion, you have S and A, which is like peak. B and C are good. D is mid. And then E and F are trash. I think that's how I'm going to do it. Because D, like, this movie's not horrible, but it's not great. I mean, for what it is, it's fun. Their dynamic, these trio, are really good. And I think I'm going to move Black Widow up above Eternals, by the way. But maybe up against Doctor Strange. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. But I don't know, it's like one of those movies where you could just turn your brain off and watch type thing. Like, it's an hour and a half only, and it's just like a fun concept of them. Actually, I'm gonna put this in C. I can't do it. I'm gonna put She-Hulk in D. Yeah, because we're going off rewatchability. We have to remember that. It's a fun concept where their powers are switching, throughout the time, every time they use it. And the ending where she gets stuck in the X-Men timeline was fucking crazy. And they go to the one planet straight out of Guardians where you can only sing. I really like this. I think this film was slept on. Let me check this quick. I think this movie did lose money, sadly, because people don't like Brie Larson. I didn't like Brie Larson originally, but 81. Okay, good. I'm glad audience score is higher for this because it does deserve it. 206 million. This movie lost money. That sucks. Yeah, if you haven't seen Marvels, I'd say put it on the background. Echo D. I said. I liked Echo for what it was. It was the first TVMA thing they did. Obviously, we see Kingpin in it. But rewatchability, I mean, Echo's a cool character, but that's the problem with Marvel now is they're sometimes making shows about characters that I don't think they have to make shows about. Like Echo, do we need an Echo show? Like, it was cool. We saw Daredevil in it, which is cool. The fight scenes in this show were fire. And that's really it. And, like, it sets up Kingpin in Daredevil where he's like, he wants to become, mayor. I think that's pretty cool. But Deadpool Wolverine, I'm putting A. I don't know if this is recency bias, but maybe bottom of A. Maybe above these. Right there. I think that's a good place for it. This movie was fire. I mean, we really needed this. I mean, we had Guardians 3, but like this was one of the most hyped Marvel films of recent times. I mean, the cameos in this were cool, but they were like justified. The story was cool. The tribute to the X-Men franchise at the end and to Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, and their dynamics just so fucking funny in this film. I was laughing my ass off. It was sad at times. It was really great. It was a great way to introduce them to the MCU as well. I thought it was really fucking funny. Agatha all along. I'm gonna put Agatha in B. I fucking love Agatha. Oh wait, why is Moon Knight in? I think Moon Knight's better than Agatha, but wait, I think Moon Knight's better than WandaVision. Oh my god, wait, I'm gonna do this. Okay, because WandaVision I feel like fell off towards the end a little bit, but Agatha's great. I mean, I feel like this is good that they're right next to each other because they do, they are two sides of the same book where Agatha's a sequel to WandaVision. I was not hyped for this show, and then I watched it and I was just blown away by it. I mean, she is such a good character and she's acting her ass off in this film. We see Wanda's kid and like how every episode was like a trial in the Witch's Road. I really love that, and the comedy in this film, in this show, the costume designing and all that. I really love this show. It really took me by surprise, and if you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's really funny. So this is my list, guys. Let's go through here and see if we should move anything around. No Way Home A, yeah. Is my S tier looking good? I think I like my S tier. I don't see myself adding anything to it. I especially don't see me taking anything off of it. Guardians of the Galaxy 2, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I'd rather watch No Way Home over Guardians 2. Homecoming, yeah, I really like Homecoming. Black Panther 2. Maybe I'm going to move Black Panther 2 to B tier. I think Black Panther 1's better than Black Panther 2. I also just really love Chadwick Boseman. Shang-Chi, yes. Moon Knight, yes. Okay, Wakanda Forever, WandaVision, Agatha. Would I rather watch Agatha or Avengers? I'm going to do that. Far From Home. Stay there. Yep. I think that's good. Okay, let's start from here then. Not seen F. Yeah, these are all fucking F. Does Ant-Man and the Wasp go to F? I'm moving Ant-Man and the Wasp to F. I have no desire to watch this film again. I just have no desire. Like, it's fucking boring. I'm gonna do E. Would I watch it over Thor? I think if I had to sit down and watch one movie, just even if it's mindfuck at Thor, just because, like, it's so stupid that I could just watch it. She-Hulk. Maybe Hulk. Maybe Incredible Hulk will be top of D, I think. Yeah, same with Thor. I'd rather watch those two over. I think I'll do this. Yeah. Eternals. I'd rather watch... Fuck, this is tough. Iron Man 2, I think, should be top of C. I think Iron Man 2 is better than all these films. Yeah. I think this is my list, guys. I think this is my list. I could sit here all day and move shit around, but I think this is like the rough draft of my tier list for the MCU. Let me know what you guys think down below. Do you agree with any of these? Do you disagree? And yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Peace.